average you pay at the pump could be headed toward $5 a gallon. Republican presidential contender Newt Gingrich says opening up more land to oil drilling would drive prices down to $2.50 a gallon and do a whole lot more good for the economy.
The energy issue is enormous. An enormous flow, which would drive down prices to $2.50 a gallon, would help us balance the budget and would create millions of jobs.
President Obama disagrees.
And you can bet that since it's an election year, they're already dusting off their three-point plan for $2 gas. And I'll save you the suspense. Step one is to drill, and step two is to drill. And then step three is to keep drilling.
So how much can the president, for that matter, Congress, really control? Stephen Moore is an editorial writer for the Wall Street Journal. Chrystia Freeland is editor of Thomson Reuters Digital. Stephen, Newt Gingrich says $2.50 a gallon. President Obama laughs it off as insincere election speak because I guess if the president could do something to get gas to $2.50 a gallon, he might have done it. We know the problems Americans are paying. They're paying more to fill up their cars and trucks. What part does a president or Washington play in the solution?
Well, Ali, I know this is going to absolutely shock you, but I agree with Newt Gingrich on this one. Look, I think that, look, in the short term, the president can't do much about the price of oil and gas at the pump. This is a result of a lot of the disruptions that are going on in the Middle East. But it is also true what Newt Gingrich and some of the president's critics are saying, that this is a president who's been very hostile to domestic oil and gas development. A good example being the reduction in permits to do offshore drilling. We also saw what happened with the Keystone Pipeline. If you want to see the chickens come home to roost, that's reflected partly in higher gas prices. And then, of course, yesterday when the president gave his talk about high oil and gas prices, he said he wanted to actually increase the tax on the oil and gas companies, which is not going to lead to more development.
He also said that, and showed, and we've done the research and since showed that production has increased under this president. Demand for oil in the United States has been flat. So what's the problem, and what's the mathematical problem?
Okay. That's a really good point, Ali, and it is true that our oil and gas development is way up in the last 5 years. The issue is, though, that most of those permits were done at the end of the Bush administration, and the problem that the oil and gas industry have is that actually the Obama administration has really put a crimp on this. Remember, when Barack Obama ran for president in 2008, Ali, he told us, he said his energy policies would naturally mean that gas prices will be higher. So he's delivered exactly what he promised.
Right. I'm skeptical that he even has that influence, whether it's down or up on gas prices. But it's an interesting discussion. A look back at recent history will show that a couple of different approaches by presidents have been tried to curb rising gas prices. President Nixon put price controls on gas in the early 70s. That didn't work. The result, as you all remember, or at least those of you who are old enough to remember, long lines, closed gas stations because of a lack of supply. Recently, President George W. Bush tried to appeal to the Saudis and other large oil producers to increase their output and lower prices in 2008. That didn't work either. The Saudis say that oil is going to be $100 a barrel and they're going to work hard to keep it there. So, Chrystia, is it time for Americans to accept that there are no short-term solutions to keeping gas prices low? I don't know what the long-term holds, but there's nothing we can do about it right now.
There are no short-term solutions. I absolutely agree with you. And I think people get it, right? People understand that the oil market is an international market. It's a function of international market forces, and it's not something the U.S. president personally controls. Having said that, I agree with Stephen that right now the key thing which is driving the current spike in gas prices is the standoff with Iran. If the president had sort of a magic button that he could press to solve the standoff with Iran, then I think we would see gas prices in the very short term fall. That is what is driving the fear in international oil markets right now.